The courtroom smelled like old wood and stale coffee. My father sat 3 feet away from me. Close enough that I could hear him breathing. Close enough to see the vein in his temple pulsing. His lawyer was mid-sentence when my father couldn't help himself. "She is mentally unfit," he barked. Loud. Certain. Like he'd been waiting to say it. The room went silent. I didn't move. Didn't react. Just sat there with my hands folded in my lap. The judge looked up slowly. His reading glasses slid down his nose. He stared at my father for a long moment. Then at me. Then back at my father. "You really don't know, do you?" My father blinked. "No what?" The judge leaned forward. "About your daughter." His lawyer's pen stopped moving. My father's face went pale. And I finally allowed myself to smile. This started 6 months earlier. My father filed for conservatorship over me. Full legal control. Financial. Medical. Everything. His reasoning? I was unstable. Erratic. Unable to manage my own affairs. He had a lawyer. An expensive one. The kind with a corner office and cufflinks. I had a public defender who looked like he'd rather be anywhere else. The petition cited incidents. Times I'd acted irrationally. Spent money recklessly. Made poor decisions. What he didn't mention, I was 28 years old. I had a master's degree. I worked as a forensic accountant for the state. I found discrepancies in financial records for a living. But none of that mattered to him. What mattered was control. My father had always needed control. Over my mother before she left. Over my younger sister until she moved across the country. Over me. I was the last one left. The hearing was set for January. Cold. Gray. The kind of winter that seeps into your bones. I showed up in a simple black dress. No jewelry. Hair pulled back. I looked tired. I was supposed to look tired. My father wore a suit. Navy blue. He looked concerned. Fatherly. The performance was flawless. His lawyer presented the case methodically. Medical records from when I was hospitalized at 19 for anxiety. That was 9 years ago. A panic attack during finals week. 2 days observation. Bank statements showing I'd withdrawn $8,000 in cash over 3 months. No explanation for where it went. Testimony from my father about erratic behavior. Staying out late. Not answering calls. Disconnecting from family. The lawyer painted a picture. A troubled young woman. Struggling. In denial about her condition. "Mr. Hayes just wants to help his daughter," the lawyer said. Sincere. Practiced. Before something tragic happens. My public defender objected twice. Both times overruled. I sat there. Silent. Taking notes on a yellow legal pad. My father kept glancing at me. Waiting for a reaction. I gave him nothing. When it was my turn to testify, I stood. Walked to the witness stand. Steady. Calm. My public defender asked basic questions. How was I feeling? Was I capable of managing my affairs? Did I understand what was happening? I answered simply. Yes. 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 Then my father's lawyer stood up. "Miss Hayes, can you explain why you withdrew $8,000 in cash and have no record of what you did with it?" "I can." "Please do." "I hired a private investigator." The lawyer paused. "For what purpose?" "To investigate financial irregularities." "Regarding?" "My father." The room shifted. Not dramatically. Just a subtle change in energy. My father's lawyer smiled. Indulgent. Like I'd just proven his point. You hired someone to investigate your own father? And you don't see how that might seem paranoid? No. Why not? Because I found what I was looking for. The smile faded. My public defender stood. Your Honor, I'd like to submit evidence to the court. He wasn't a public defender. His name was Marcus Chen. One of the best trial attorneys in the state. I'd hired him 3 months ago. Paid him with money my grandmother left me. Money my father didn't know about. The papers he submitted weren't just evidence. They were a counter-petition. For elder abuse. Financial exploitation. Fraud. Not against me. Against my father. The judge took the documents. Started reading. My father's lawyer looked confused. Flipped through his notes. My father sat perfectly still. Your Honor, Marcus said. Miss Hayes isn't mentally unfit. She's a forensic accountant. And she's been investigating her father for the past 6 months. The judge looked up. For what? For stealing from her grandmother. Before she died. My father's face drained of color. The judge leaned back in his chair. I think we need to hear more about this. Marcus nodded. We're prepared to present a full accounting. That's when my father stood up. She is mentally unfit, he barked. And the judge leaned forward. You really don't know, do you? The judge called a 15-minute recess. My father tried to leave the courtroom. His lawyer grabbed his arm. Whispered urgently. I stayed in my seat. Marcus sat beside me. Calm. Prepared. You did good, he said quietly. I nodded. My hands were shaking. I tucked them under the table. My father paced near the back wall. His face was red now. No longer pale. Angry. He caught my eye. Mouthed something I couldn't hear. I looked away. The judge returned 12 minutes later. He had more folders now. Thick ones. We're going to continue, he said. But the scope has changed. Mr. Hayes, your petition for conservatorship is on hold. Miss Hayes has made serious allegations. We're going to hear them. My father's lawyer stood. Your Honor, we weren't prepared for. You had 6 months to prepare for this hearing. Sit down. The lawyer sat. Marcus stood. Buttoned his jacket. Walked to the center of the room like he owned it. Your Honor, I'm going to present a timeline. It starts 3 years ago. He pulled up the first exhibit on a screen. Bank statements. My grandmother's account. Margaret Hayes. The defendant's mother. She was 81. Early-stage dementia. Living in her own home with part-time care. He clicked to the next slide. These are withdrawals from her account. 5,000 here. 8,000 there. All cash. All authorized by her son. Thomas Hayes. My father shifted in his seat. Over 18 months, approximately $140,000 was withdrawn. The judge's expression didn't change. But he was listening. Miss Hayes became suspicious when her grandmother mentioned she couldn't afford a new furnace. Her grandmother. Who had $400,000 in savings. Marcus clicked again. More statements. By the time Miss Hayes started investigating, her grandmother's account was down to $73,000. And where did the money go? The judge asked. Gambling debts. A failed business investment. A timeshare in Florida he never told anyone about. Marcus turned. Looked at my father. He stole from his own mother. While she was dying. That's a lie, my father said. His voice was too loud. The judge's eyes narrowed. You'll have your turn to speak, Mr. Hayes. Marcus continued. Miss Hayes documented everything. Statements. Transfers. Dates. She cross-referenced them with her grandmother's medical appointments. Times when her father had power of attorney for medical decisions. He pulled up a calendar. Highlighted dates. He used that access to authorize financial transactions. Her signature. His control. The judge studied the documents. Silent. When did the grandmother pass? He asked. 14 months ago. And the investigation? Started 2 months before her death. Miss Hayes suspected. Started gathering evidence. Her grandmother was aware. She approved. That was true. My grandmother had looked at me with clear eyes one afternoon and said, "Get him." So I did. Miss Hayes spent $8,000 hiring a forensic specialist and a private investigator to build this case, Marcus said. That's what the cash withdrawals were for. Not instability. Investigation. He turned to my father. And when Mr. Hayes realized his daughter was asking questions, he filed for conservatorship. To stop her. The judge set down his pen. Is that accurate, Mr. Hayes? My father's lawyer whispered to him. My father shook his head. I was trying to protect my daughter. From what? The judge interrupted. From herself. She became obsessed. Paranoid. She wouldn't listen to reason. Did you take money from your mother's account? Silence. Mr. Hayes, did you withdraw $140,000 from Margaret Hayes's bank account? My father's jaw tightened. I had power of attorney. I was managing her affairs. Managing or stealing? I was helping. Where's the money? My father didn't answer. The judge looked at me. Really looked. Miss Hayes, stand up please. I stood. You're a forensic accountant? Yes, Your Honor. For how long? 6 years. I work for the State Comptroller's office. And you conducted this investigation yourself? With professional help? Yes. Why didn't you go to the police? I tried. They said it was a civil matter. Family dispute. They wouldn't open a case. The judge nodded slowly. So you built one yourself? Yes. He looked at my father. Then at me. You don't seem mentally unfit to me, Miss Hayes. Thank you, Your Honor. In fact, you seem extremely competent. I didn't smile. But I wanted to. The judge ordered a full financial audit. My father's petition for conservatorship was dismissed. Immediately. Then the judge did something I didn't expect. He ordered a criminal referral. To the district attorney's office. For elder financial abuse. My father stood up. You can't do this. Sit down, Mr. Hayes. His lawyer pulled him back into his chair. This court takes elder abuse seriously, the judge said. Especially when it involves exploitation of a vulnerable adult by a family member. He looked at the bailiff. Please provide Miss Hayes's evidence to the DA. Today. My father's face went from red to white. The hearing ended 10 minutes later. I walked out into the hallway. My legs felt weak. Marcus followed. You okay?
Yeah.
That went better than expected. I nodded. Couldn't speak yet. My father came out moments later. His lawyer beside him. Talking fast. Damage control. My father saw me. Stopped. We stood there. 10 feet apart. The hallway cold and institutional. You did this, he said. No. You did. I'm your father. You were her son. His mouth opened. Closed. She trusted you, I said quietly. She needed you. And you stole from her. I was going to pay it back. You gambled it away. He had no answer for that. She knew, I continued. At the end. She knew what you did. That landed. I saw it in his eyes. Her last words to me were, make sure he doesn't get away with it. My father's face crumpled. So I didn't. I turned and walked away. He called after me. This will destroy the family. I stopped. Looked back. What family? Then I left. The DA filed charges 3 weeks later. Elder abuse, theft, financial exploitation of a dependent adult. My father hired a better lawyer. It didn't matter. The evidence was documented, thorough, undeniable. He took a plea deal. Avoided trial. 2 years probation. Restitution of $140,000. He couldn't pay it. Had to sell his house. I didn't feel satisfied. Or vindicated. Just tired. My grandmother's money went to her estate. Split between me and my sister. My sister called when she heard. We hadn't spoken in 2 years. I'm sorry, she said. I didn't know. I know. He told me you were having problems. That you needed help. I did need help. Just not his kind. She was quiet. Are you okay? Getting there. We talk now. Not often. But honestly. My father tried to call once. I didn't answer. He sent a letter 6 months later. No return address. I read it once. It said all the things letters like that say. I'm sorry. I made mistakes. I hope you can forgive me someday. Nothing about why. Nothing about her. I burned it. Not dramatically. Just in my kitchen sink. Watched it curl and blacken. Then I washed the ashes down the drain. I visit my grandmother's grave sometimes. Bring flowers. Sit on the bench nearby. I tell her things. Updates. Small victories. I like to think she knows. That afternoon in court, when the judge dismissed my father's petition, I felt her there. Not literally. But the weight of her. The clarity. She'd raised me to be strong. To ask questions. To not accept things just because someone said so. My father forgot that. He saw a daughter he could control. She saw a granddaughter she could trust. In the end, she was right. And he was just a man who thought mental fitness meant obedience. He learned different. We all did.